Hello, friends. Welcome to the first episode of AMR Dialogues. These dialogues are hosted by CNS and the Global AMR Media Alliance. AMR Dialogues feature conversations with AMR leaders from around the world, including AMR survivors, AMR scientists and researchers, and others engaged in raising awareness about antimicrobial resistance, which is one of the top global public health threats these days. Our guest for today is AMR survivor Bhakti Chavan, who's a member of the task force of antimicrobial resistance survivors that was launched by the World Health Organization. Welcome, Bhakti. We are indeed honored to have you with us today. Uh, Bhakti, can you share your personal journey and battle with antibiotic resistance?
Yes, definitely. First of all, I would like to thank CNS for handling this very serious topic of antimicrobial resistance and putting some light on this. I'm a member of WHO task force, and 2 years back, in 2017, I diagnosed with a drug resistant tuberculosis without any previous history of TB, without having any previous medications for TB. I was directly diagnosed with the drug resistant strains. My 2 years treatment was tagged with the 8 months painful injections and many antibiotics, which come with the severe side effects like depression, skin tone changes, several hospitalization due to vomiting, nausea, etc. So that journey was very emotionally, financially depressing for me. I took 2 years break from my career, and then I completed this treatment successfully with the support of NGO like MSF. They provide this treatment free of cost, and I was fortunate enough to get access to the novel medications like bedaquiline and delaminate that time. So I got cured timely. But yes, drug resistance is a very serious health issue which need to address right now, because I believe AMR may be invisible, but we survivors are not.
Definitely not. Bhakti, did you have any problems in the first of all, which means this was a direct transmission of drug resistant tuberculosis, as you
Yes.
had no previous problem with it? And also, uh, was there were there any diagnostic delays or any problems with diagnosis?
Fortunately, in my case, there was no any delay in diagnosis. Initially, I was suffering from the lymphatic tuberculosis. So only right side of my neck, I observe a lymphatic node swelling. I went to my family physician. So she prescribed me with the 7 days antibiotics course. But still, my swelling was not reducing. So I went to specialist. So he asked me to do FNSC, and that is some basic test, micro biological test is there.
Definitely.
Slide, you just need to observe, and it will tell you that it's a tuberculosis or non-tuberculosis node. So post that, he prescribed me with the first line TB medications. But then my family suggested that we should take another. So I went chest physician, and he told me to go to a biopsy and asked me to go for the drug resistant tests. So post that, gene expert test come within 24 to 48 hours, which tells you that you are resistant to first line drugs. But my physician, I think, I'm grateful that he took a very prompt decisions, and he asked me to go for the culture test also with the same biopsy cultures. So post that, that culture report came, and it was a extensive drug resistant tuberculosis, and my treatment start timely. So I believe because of the proper diagnosis, I got cure within a span of 2 years. But there are many survivors whose story I heard during my treatment. So there is many misdiagnosis done for a several years, due to which their treatment got prolonged. Many complications was there.
Yes. So you went to a public health facility for your diagnosis or a private health facility?
I went to the private facility.
Okay, okay. So, and now what are you doing? You'll tell us something about your life now, post treatment.
Yeah, so when I got diagnosed with the tuberculosis, I just completed my master degree in biotechnology and I was looking for a job. So during that time, I got infected with this drug-resistant tuberculosis, and then 2 years treatment I took. But after 1 year, when my injectables stopped, I enrolled for the PGD course, that is post-graduation diploma in clinical trial. I completed that course successfully for 1 year, and then I got a job in the company Tech Invention Life Care Private Limited. They are also working in the AMR field.
Okay,
So yeah, so for therapeutics, vaccines, and diagnosis. So yeah, right now AMR is very close to my heart.
right,
So
right.
I want to work more on this field, and I think AMR we need to approach this with the One Health perspective, because AMR is not only limited to humans; it's also in the environment, in animal. So we need to approach this as a One Health perspective.
And yours was extrapulmonary TB, am I right? Because
Yes.
and that is often very more difficult to diagnose than pulmonary TB
Yes,
also.
yes,
Yes, yes,
and
yes,
main issues with extrapulmonary tuberculosis is samples are very less.
yes, yes.
So in pulmonary TB, you have a frequent sputum samples to test that your test is coming negative or not. But in extrapulmonary tuberculosis, you don't have any samples to test.
Right, right. Although you have said this in the course of your conversation, but once again, what motivated you to rise and strengthen this AMR survivors network worldwide? And you are saying that you are very passionate about it. So, what was the motivation? Your own sickness or
Yeah,
something as well?
first motivation is my own sickness.
Yes.
And during my treatment, I connected with the many survivors,
Mm.
tuberculosis survivors. So they motivated me to complete my treatment. They share their own experience, which helped me a lot. Like, come out with a depression that, yeah, I am not the only one who is suffering with this. There are many people out there who is suffering with the same disease.
Mm. Yes.
So, and when I heard their story, I think that time I felt I am fortunate enough. So, I get diagnosed timely. I could get access to the novel tuberculosis medicines. But not everyone is fortunate enough to get that treatment or, diagnosed properly. So, coming from a scientific background as well as, knowing the subject, I believe I can contribute something to the society, so that if somebody get connected with me on the social media after listening or reading to my stories on the internet, so I guide them that okay, if your doctor is saying that it's normal tuberculosis, then just go for the culture test. It may be a drug resistant TB. The treatment, you can get access to the novel medicines are there, so that could help to shorten your treatment. So I think that is the main motivation for me to create an awareness
Yes,
nationally and globally.
very important, Bhakti. And that patient literacy, which you are talking of, is important. That the patient should demand, should know that, yes, let me go for another test. That is a very important factor. Yes.
Yes, for
And
ma'am, for the layman, nobody knows about the AMR. In my
yes,
family
yes,
also, if you speak
yes,
with the
yes,
AMR friends, they
right,
don't know anything about AMR. So
right.
creating awareness is a very important.
Exactly, exactly. And your example, it reminds me, there is a saying in Hindi that कि दुख बटकर आधा हो जाता है और सुख बटकर दूना हो जाता है. I will translate it for my listeners that if you share your sorrows, they become half. They are halved in their intensity. And when you share your joys and happiness, they are doubled. So you shared your problems with others, others shared it with you, which made you actually go through the treatment and realize you are not the only one.
Yes,
And now you are uh, doubling and tripling that joy of having come out of it and making others also do the same. That that is a great achievement. Bhakti, why is it important to have people-centered responses to AMR, which again, as you're saying, AMR is something which people don't understand. Creating awareness is important. But how can we make people-centered responses a reality? And why are people-centered responses important?
So in the AMR, generally AMR cause because of the people don't stick to the treatment. They don't complete the antibiotic treatment properly. So that's the main issue for the creating this AMR. So I believe national action plans are there in each country to address this AMR issue. But at the ground level, the reality is different. If we take the example of tuberculosis, as you say, there is a national plans for the treatment of tuberculosis. But there are many gaps in that treatment also. Sometimes medicines are not available. Access to the novel medicines is not there, so proper diagnosis is being delayed due to the uh, not availability of the test at the government settings. So I believe people and when you say the people centric action plans at the each country, that should include the ground level reality. Okay, so if this disease is there in your country, you should have the proper diagnosis tests at each government setting so that poor man can also get access to that test. Do you have the access for the novel medications? What is the cost of that medications? Because when if some poor man or anybody who cannot afford such expensive treatment, he goes to the that settings, government settings, or any other private sectors. So we have to make sure that this AMR or that patient is completing the treatment properly, and this infection is not spreading anymore to any other people. So I think that's why patient centric plans or treatments or diagnosis is most important to combat AMR.
Okay, and for that matter, which means upfront DST is very important.
Yes.
Upfront test, because see, in your case, you did not you did not play with your treatment. You completed your treatment. You had no initial history of tuberculosis.
Yes.
But so, if upfront DST had not been done in your case, you might have been going on the wrong treatment, getting the wrong drugs.
Yes.
So even for patients who are coming for treatment, even, of course, some of them develop resistance because of those problems that they do not finish the treatment, they leave it in between. But for those who do, I think it is important upfront to know to what drugs they are resistant. And,
Yes.
and maybe not just for TB, but for any other.
Yes.
Because unless you know whether the drug is going to work on you or not, it may just it may become resistant after some time.
Right.
So, yes.
And it will complicate the case further.
Yes, right, definitely. Bhakti, what is your message to the world leaders who will be convening at the UNHLM on AMR this September? That is the UN high-level meeting on antimicrobial resistance, which will be there at UNGA.
Yes, in UNGA, I've seen there will be the 3 panels. One will be discussing some financials at country level to combat AMR, research and development plans, treatments, access to the medicines. So I believe in each panel, they should include the survivors, AMR survivors in the discussion, not only the doctors, researchers, clinicians, but yes, AMR survivors are also important because they are the one who suffered the disease. They are the one who faces some issues like misdiagnosis, access for the treatment. So they could add the valuable point in some discussions, and I think we can form those plan properly if we include the AMR survivor spaces in the UNGA.
Yeah, very important. They are the ones who will tell you the ground reality.
Yes.
What is happening at the ground and what is needed more.
Yes.
Other than signing memorandums and agreements, but their implementation, implementation, I think it's important.
It's very important.
Yes. Any other closing thoughts, Bhakti?
Yeah, closing thought, I would like to say Yes, AMR right now is invisible, but again, I would say we survivors are not. There are many survivors in each country. So right now in the WHO task force, AMR survivors task force, we have 12 members, but I want more people to come and join us to create this awareness against AMR. And I think at each country level, such committees are required so that patients will involve into the more discussions. They will involve in designing of national action plans against AMR. So I think more people need to join this fight against AMR. It's very important.
Any plans for having a national task force? You spearheading some national task force or group of AMR survivors in our
Yeah,
own country?
yes, definitely. We are working on that aspects also at WHO, that we could take more people to join us, and in the future at the country level we'll see more task force like this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bhakti, for giving a human face to AMR and helping to shape the AMR global narrative. We need more people like you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.